Okay.
Normally
You're live
YouTube is
on YouTube.
quicker.
Yep.
What?
That was instant.
That is crazy. That is just crazy.
And then
Okay.
you're going to give me a link to share on
I'm
Discord.
going to give you a link as soon as it pops up for me, which it hasn't yet.
Okay.
So just hold on. Right, I'm going to stop that, share, copy. Okay, I closed out my Discord window, but hold on a minute. Go back here, chat. Can you see it on the Zoom chat?
There. Okay, cool. Let me close Discord.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hey, everyone. So this caught me off guard. We landed up getting onto YouTube really quickly. And here we are. I'm just faffing around giving Jason the URL. And while I'm giving Jason the URL, you can go ahead and find the same thing and post it to your social media you would like to share this. So you click on share below the YouTube video and it will pop up the URL and you can go ahead and share that if you want to. Hello to everybody who's joining us. I see you in the comment sections already. Penny Love Dance. Hello, sweetheart. Summer Isabel. I have to love on some of these names. Hello, Jax. Jackie Nell is with us. Danae Jackson. I saw Lenora was with us. There's a whole lot of very familiar faces. So welcome to all of you. And of course, a very warm welcome to the wonderful Jason Estes. It's great to have you again, Jason.
Thank you. Yeah, today should be a really fun day. It's going to be a little bit different pace than what we're used to.
Why is it going to be a different pace?
Because it's kind of time to talk about the elephant in the room, so to speak. Are you familiar with that saying?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Tell us. So who's the elephant? What's the elephant that we haven't been talking about, that we've been ignoring?
So imagine that you're, back when you had your first relationship, long time ago, whenever it was, it doesn't matter. But that relationship, and you had that breakup, and some of you might never have had a breakup, and for those of you, you won't understand my example. But when you have that heartbreak, that very first time, it's very hard to get over. In fact, you think you're never going to get over it. You feel like eons of time will pass and you will always be that same way and all of this other stuff, right? So this is the elephant in the room. Many of you have this heartbreak that you're feeling right now because you feel like you failed the ascension. You feel like this is hell on earth. You feel like all of these things because all the things that are going on in the world, right? Well, here's the thing. All the things that are going on in the world are going on in the world because of panic and fear. And if panic and fear are at the all-time high, that means you're doing something right because we're pushing through it. So the elephant in the room is not being willing to acknowledge or to say, hey, I feel heartbroken because I don't feel like I made the ascension. I feel like this is hell on earth. And just saying that allows it to no longer be behind you, pushing you forward. Because I've seen so many people say in their own way, without actually saying, I didn't make the ascension, that they're afraid that they didn't make the ascension, or that they don't know if they're in the new sector, or all this other stuff. And the thing is, if you actually take a look at what's happening, you'll notice that this world is being cleaned up ridiculously fast, faster than we've ever seen a world cleaned up. And yeah, it's going to cause spiritual whiplash. It's going to make it seem like we've lost because you're going to see the darkest points before it becomes the brightest points. But if you actually take a look behind the scenes, you'll notice that everything is better than it's ever been. Not necessarily in a physical way, but energetically. That in a physical way, there is a cleanup effort happening, and you're going to see a lot come up that you didn't know is going on, and it's going to freak you out a little bit. But the thing is, it's coming up. And like everyone out there that has heard the spiritual saying, if it's coming up, it's coming out. Well, it's coming up and it's coming out of us. It's coming up and it's coming out of the world stage. It's coming up and it's coming out of the old third dimensional earth game. So while the world doesn't look like it might have changed, it really, really has. In fact, there are things going on this planet that many of us have waited lifetimes to witness. Watching like things fall apart behind the scenes that need to fall apart behind the scenes, that have been holding us in patterns, a lot of truth coming out in some major ways. This is a very powerful time, but this is the transition. So right now until the 21st, we're sitting at like a train station basically, and we're just there and we're exhausted because we've just run the craziest marathon of our life and we ended up at a train station and we don't understand why we're at a train station. And it's okay that we don't understand why we're at a train station, but we also know that there's a train coming and we can feel that train coming and we can feel the future after that train has arrived and we can feel that connection. So you get to choose what you want to focus on. You can focus on the semblance of reality that was, or you can begin to look at the reality that's bridging in. But if you are one of those people who feel heartbroken because you don't think you made the ascension, congratulations, you made the ascension. And it's okay to feel the way you feel. I really want to say that because that's the elephant in the room. So many people that are spiritual believe it's not okay to feel certain things. It's okay to feel anything at any time. And you will feel everything at some time. That's just how it goes. Welcome to the Ascension. Welcome to Spirituality 101. Anything that you think you won't feel, you're going to feel at some point. Anything you don't want to feel, you're going to feel at some point. It's part of the process of becoming whole. Because when you are no longer in a need to or not need to feel something, then you're in neutrality. And that divine neutrality is where everything is born. So join us there today in our wonderful conversation around the future.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And thank you for reminding us that there's no wrong feelings, Jason. They're not wrong. It doesn't matter what they are. It's a point of connection, right? So somehow we got misled and misguided into the notion that I can only connect when it's love and beauty and fluttery butterflies and sparkly rainbows and all the other stuff I've got to ignore. And that's a pretty rough deal. And when we find out that we never had to do that in the first place, there's this huge relief. And I've seen it time and time again with people. First a disbelief and then a relief when they realize there's really no wrong emotion. It's okay to connect because ultimately they're all transient things.
Yep.
And they all lead to the same place, which is that seat of sacred neutrality. As they are dissipated and as they dissolve, that's where it leads you to. So thank you. That's beautiful. I love addressing the elephants in the room. That was really cool.
Yeah, we had to do that if we were going to move forward because that was like basically keeping everyone tied to the past. And I will say, just as personally, I know that I have spiritual trauma from running that train and surviving it because that was the train of suffering. And the entire premise of that train was that it was falling apart as we were moving forward. So we only had so long in each cart before the car literally went off the rails. And most of us didn't know if we were going to make it. We were sprinting with all that we were dodging, we were bobbing, we were weaving, we were doing everything you could possibly imagine just to survive. And now that we've made it to this train station, a lot of us are like sitting there like deer in the headlights. Wait, we don't have to survive now. We can actually grow, we can thrive, we can feel. You mean I actually have space to process? And that's scary, but also new and magical and amazing. Because it's something that we are afraid that we're gonna lose. Because we've fought so hard for so long to get to this point that now we're afraid we're gonna have it taken from us. And this is the elephant in the room, because if you can acknowledge that you're afraid that you're going to have it taken from you, that's a good thing. That's you acknowledging it. Therefore, it's not playing in the background and making your actions be of fear. You see, there's a huge difference between feelings and emotions. And I want to point this out for those that are new. I've done this in several videos, but in just for those that are new, feelings are your guidance system. They help you to understand what's going on and to feel what's really there. Emotions are things that move you. So you can have an emotion that pushes on your feeling, and then you can pause. Or you can have an emotion that pushes through your feeling, and you can be someone else for a little bit. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with it. If you catch yourself in an emotional state where you're no longer feeling, but you're actually emoting, you're acting from emotion, then forgive yourself, pause, come back to center, and feel what was in it for you. These are extremely important tools moving forward because you're going to notice that your feelings are going to be a little jaded at first. meaning they're not going to be accurate. And the reason is because the entire stream that we were part of has updated and changed. It's going to be like learning to walk again for the first time. But it's going to be fun because even though it's challenging to learn to walk again, think of how much faster you're going to be able to walk the second time around. Think of all of the capabilities that are going to come online, all the things you didn't know that you didn't know when you learn to walk again in a higher dimension. So this is actually a very big time for us to learn who we actually are without the influence of what we aren't. Because for the longest time, what we weren't was being bombarded to us constantly until we believed it. And that's important to understand because there was a huge game being played on you for the longest time. And you actually were the one playing that game on yourself. Now, that game no longer needs to be played on you. And instead, this wisdom game is being played on you, which is great because it's you playing out all of this wisdom to yourself. And that's actually what starts tomorrow. That's the avatar window. So we're going to begin to commune with our highest version of ourselves outside of the illusion, which is important, outside of the illusion. The illusion is where the confusion and chaos and misinterpretation and mistranslation comes from. So when we actually take the time to commune with our highest self outside the illusion, we begin to break free of the illusion. We begin to become examples of the truth. And while it might not look like it in this world, it's doing the same thing. It's breaking free. There's so many pieces that are moving behind the scenes that need to move. And they've needed to move for 9,000 years, but they're finally moving. And now that they're finally moving, there's room for humanity to take its power back, for it to be redeemed within itself. And that's why next year is the year of redemption, which, by the way, it turns out that the year of redemption starts on December 23rd. So really fun that we actually get to be in 2021 early.
Yeah, it really is, and it really does feel like everything is speeding up right now. And I'm really excited to talk about the avatar window and what that means for all of us. But Jason, can I just take a sidetrack for a moment before we go to the avatar window? There's something I've been meaning to ask you, and it's about CRM, the
Crystallized roots.
please,
Yep.
right. Please, will you? It's something that it's something that I've been seeing and dreaming about for a very, very long time. And it could have something to do with the fact that right outside this window over here, when I look outside, there is this forest of trees. And I speak to these trees every single day. And I have a very good relationship with them. So when we talk about the crystallized roots movement, it really brings something up for me that needs pursuing. So please, will you share with us a little bit about that?
So the Crystallized Roots movement is the very first initiative for Earth Change. And what it is we're going to be planting 1 million trees all over the world over the next 3 years using the source seed technology. So what this does is it basically creates an opportunity for the trees to level up into an 8-dimensional construct. Now, for those that don't understand what that means, it means that we would actually have a teacher faster so that the planet could evolve even faster. Trees communicate with all other trees. So when you plant 1 million of these trees, 1 million trees is enough to actually change the collective for the trees. So the whole purpose of this is that when we plant these crystallized roots, we're actually creating a new 8-dimensional structure to learn from, as well as to help our environment learn from, so that we can get the resources that we need that we don't even know we need. Because as you get to the higher games, you need different resources than you needed before, which is what a lot of you are realizing. One of the reasons why you're so exhausted is because now you're starting to use higher dimensional resources. So the whole reason I built Cloud in the first place was because when I started realizing where we were headed, I was like, oh, there's no way I can survive this without like having some support in a higher dimensional frequency. So it's the same thing with adaptogens. Like one of the things I swear by is good adaptogens. I finally gave up on looking for adaptogens and I'm now working with a company to make one because I was just like, well, if no one else is going to get it right, let's just sit down and get this right. So the support you're looking for is coming. It's out there already and it's coming even more, and the avatar window is coming. And this is just one of those other very important parts of that, which is planting trees with the new technology for a new earth makes sense. So I'll spend the next 3
It
years
absolutely
traveling
does.
all over the world, helping these planting groups set up and bringing the necessary supplies and things like that to really get this going.
Right. So where do people find out more about it if they want to, and how do they become a part of that movement? Because a million trees is going to need a lot of hands.
Yes, it is. It's going to need a lot of hands. So there's actually a really cool thing about it. I wanted everyone to be able to participate, whether you were rich, poor, anywhere in the world, didn't matter, didn't care. All I wanted was that you have an opportunity to be part of it if you want to. So you can donate your time, which is if you're in the location or you want to set up a group, you can do that. You can donate your money, which means that if you have extra money or that you just really feel called to give like a little bit to this, you totally can. And my favorite, you can donate your love. So each tree that we plant will have a picture taken of it that is actually going to be there with a comment section and a little bitty heart thing that you can put a heart on. And what that is you're sending your love to that tree. You can write a personal prayer for that tree. You can write
Mm,
a loving message to that tree, right? So the
wow.
idea is these trees are like people. Eight-dimensional constructs are very much an intelligence. And so whenever you commune with the tree, now you can do it online. And it's going to be really fun because everyone in the world who wants to participate has a way now to participate. So if you're interested in that, that's at earthchange.org. And if you want to know more about it, you can always email support@earthchange.org.
Earthchange.org. Got it. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for setting that up. As always, you are such a visionary, and I'm so grateful to you. I'm seeing some of the comments just of excitement, people going, yeah, let's plant the trees, because we know that we're stepping into a new world, Jason. And here we are at the avatar window. And it's such an interesting time, because just this morning, I was watching a video on Twitter, which is one of those things that most of us probably shouldn't do, because, when we come across other people's self-righteousness, it can be very triggering. And if not triggering, it can even be traumatic. It can even be traumatic to witness somebody going through an injustice. We don't get to watch something and not participate. Even if we think we're not, even if we think we're just, watching some random stranger on Twitter, nonetheless, it left me with this feeling about, oh, some people can be so self-righteous. And as the day progressed, an amazing thought dawned on me. And I thought to myself, well, it's quite wonderful that they can do the self-righteousness, because when they do, it would allow for me or the person involved to find our own truth. Because somebody who's self-righteous is kind of, shoving their truth with a little bit of shame in there as well, hoping to change the person. Whereas if you could just come into alignment with your own truth and truly stand in the presence that you are, it's a remarkable opportunity. And that's what people who are going into that energy would sort of force you to do. So
Yep.
here we are on the brink of the avatar window. There's so much going on in this world that is truly miraculous. It helps not to pull a Kerry stunt and go onto Twitter too much. Jason, tell us a little bit more, though, about this avatar window and what it means to us.
So this is one of the most important windows that we're going to go through this year because it's the end of the year also, but also the fact that
Yeah.
imagine that you are communing with yourself outside the illusion. So like you have this barrier that you don't even know exists, and it still does exist right now. It's being dismantled, but it still exists. And if you want to jump ahead in a little bit, you can actually watch a movie called The Truman Show. For those of you who have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is what one of the recommendations for January is for that. So that being said, we're dismantling the shell that keeps us from seeing the truth. But the avatar window is where you are in alignment perfectly with that version of you outside and is able to commune perfectly with you. We had one of these in October, and it was massive change on the planet because of it. And it was the exact same days. And I thought that was really interesting that it's the exact same days again in December. But it's actually much deeper because now humanity has reached 18 circuits. So we
Yeah.
actually, as of yesterday, pushed into 18. And so now,
Right.
as an average, now this is not everyone, but if you take humanity as a whole and you average it out, that's 18 circuits. That is massive. Like massive, massive, massive. When we went through it in October, they were at 4. So if you look at the depth of this new experience, it's going to be much stronger. It's another reason why a lot of people are triggered and going through so much is because they're like, wait a second, I don't understand, because so much has been turned on for them. There's a new level of depth to every experience that they never processed. So that's what it means when I say you're learning to walk again, you're learning to talk again, you're learning all this because now you have telepathy, like your telepathiness has come online and you're now able to begin to communicate in ways you didn't know you could communicate. Your body language means a completely different thing now. There's so much going on that you're learning to do. And tomorrow, our brains will have begun to really understand it. So that's what happens 30 days after a new sector is usually the mind catches up enough and it goes, oh, okay, yeah, actually, yeah, no, I understand what's going on here. I don't understand all of it, but I understand enough to start seeing the patterns again. Because humanity is a pattern recognition system. We are very good at recognizing patterns. They've been using these against us for years, and now we're using them for us. And that's a beautiful, magical, powerful thing. So what that means is you're going to start to notice patterns a lot more obvious than before. And this is also when we're going to be coming into that avatar window. So it's no small coincidence that they're stacking on the same time, right? Because now you have your brain is online to this new pattern recognition system. And now you're going to start getting stuff outside the illusion coming directly in. This is going to be when the real cleanup begins, is this window. Because now it's time to finally go, oh, okay, well, let's look at things from a different perspective. Let's look at things outside the illusion. Wait, that doesn't fit there. That doesn't fit there. Wait, that doesn't fit there. Wait, that whole thing doesn't fit there. And this is going to be the time you're in. And I would caution you against judgment. Because if you go into judgment, if you say, well, I would have done better, or I know better, be prepared to understand that you can't possibly know better or have done better because you're not that individual, you're not that energy. And if you decide that you want to play the game of judgment, it doesn't end where you want it to end, no matter what. I can promise you that. You could, anything you want to judge, anything, it's not going to end where you want it to end. It just won't. That's not how this world works. So work on divine neutrality. Like if I could say one secret of life for the next 8 years, work on divine neutrality. Because the 8-year mark is whenever we finish this transition and we become a 5th dimensional society. That's a huge difference than the society that's 3rd dimension and transiting into the 4th. So we don't have that long to get to where we're going. And that means we're going to go really fast. I think the next train we're getting on is a bullet train that probably doesn't even have tracks because it just goes through time and space.
Yeah.
It's going to be really cool, but it's going to be really fast. And you're probably not going to know how to handle it at first because, that's how G-force works. Like when you have those G's pushing against you, you just kind of pass out. Well, be prepared for that maybe till, February, March, because it's going to go really fast and we're going to have to learn a whole new pace, a whole new speed. But ultimately, and I can't say this enough, really, divine neutrality. Really hear me when I say this. If you go into a judgment game, you lock yourself into the game and you play that game out until you're out of it. And for many people, they don't want to play this game anymore. Actually, I don't know anyone that wants to play this game anymore. I know people that are going to play this game on accident and they're going to find out and they're going to come out of it. The cool part is, instead of being locked in the game forever, like you used to, you're locked in the game until you choose to no longer be locked in the game. So you can come out of it like that. So if you do catch yourself judging something, be like, oh, nope, no, divine neutrality, coming back to center. That's your belief. This is my belief. It's okay that you have that belief. It's okay that I have this belief. We're going to have a conversation. Or, thank you for your conversation. I'm out. And then just go about your life because there are better things to do with your time than to go into judgment or arguments. Debates are completely different. I love debates. I think a healthy debate is very important because if you really want to understand unity, be able to be you in a room with people who don't like you. If you can do that, then you understand unity. Because unity isn't that everyone has to like you. In fact, it's never going to be the case. There are going to be people who disagree with you, but you've got to learn how to communicate and work with those people who disagree with you, because if you can't, then there's no unity.
That's a wow moment. That's a real wow moment, because there's this huge societal conditioning at the moment. Cancel culture, it's called, where if somebody disagrees with you, not only do you walk away from them, you just cancel them out of your life. There's just no going back if somebody has dared to disagree. And this is an interesting thing about that cancel culture is if you are in agreement with, say, 9 points out of 10, it's not good enough.
Yep.
Because there's one thing you disagree with. And I've noticed people say, and I point this out to the spiritual community, I've noticed people saying, I've always followed such and such a person, whoever it might be, but then they said this one thing that I'm in disagreement with, and now everything that they say is wrong. So whether we're aware of it or not, this is the stuff that seeps into our unconscious, and we begin acting on it until, of course, we become aware of it. So what you're saying is it's okay if people don't like you. It's okay. In fact, you could still hold your own. You don't have to become the version of you that you think they want you to be, nor do you have to get them to be a version of themselves other than what they're currently expressing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's huge, Jason. It's huge.
It's the only way forward.
Mm.
I'm fortunate that I was raised before the internet and social media and all this stuff. I'm very fortunate in that because I have a different point of view. I think that my opinion matters to me. And that's it.
Mm.
That's it. Anyone else that
Yeah.
wants to hear my opinion and wants to learn from it, take it as a new point of view or a new perspective, awesome. Nothing wrong with that. But that's it. I'm not
Yeah.
here to tell you how to live your life. I'm here to be an example of how I live mine. And that's it.
Mm. Mm.
So when we
Yeah.
were conditioned to believe that our opinion was the most important thing ever, that's when we went off the rails in the
Mm.
biggest way possible. And that's what's
Mm.
been going on. And now we're starting to realize more and more, hey, I have an opinion, they have an opinion. Their opinion is just as valid as my opinion, even if I don't agree with it. And we're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. But we are getting there. You see, when you get more circuits, everything changes because you begin to start to relate more. So if you have 4 circuits, and circuits are what make up reality, and I have 4 circuits, and let's just say that I have the first 4 matter circuits, and I meet somebody who has the first 4 space circuits, I am going to disagree 100% with everything that they stand for because I am in polar opposition.
Mm.
Now, if I meet someone who has time circuits, I'm just going to think they're crazy. I'm not even going to have the relevance to disagree with them because they're just bonkers. There's no point in me even justifying a moment of my time to think about them.
Mm.
Now, here's what's really cool. You get 14. All of a sudden, you have circuits here, you have some circuits here, you have some circuits over here, and you start to go, wait a second. I don't agree with this person, but I can see where they're coming from.
Mm.
And that thought comes in, and you go, wait, if they're coming from somewhere that I can understand, then I can sort of relate, even though I don't agree. I couldn't possibly agree, but I can relate. I'm starting to feel more. I'm starting to feel this person's process more. I'm starting to actually want to forgive their process more. And this will happen naturally for humanity because they will begin to relate with each other because they can't not.
Mm.
And so this disagreement, this cancel culture, this world that we have developed for ourselves to really test the limits of human love and compassion is now coming to a close. We're having a new system coming online tomorrow that really allows us to see and relate. You see, for the longest time, empathy has been shut down on this planet. For the longest time. And it's been misused, it's been mislabeled, it's been misrepresented, it's been all these things on purpose. And now true human empathy, the value of what it really is, not pity, because people mix those up all the time. True human empathy is coming online. And it comes online because of the telepathic nature of the human anatomy. Like the reason that we have a field around us It's not just like a mistake. It wasn't like, yeah, I don't really know what to do with this thing. I'm just going to throw it on that body. It's no big deal. It was designed. We are so perfectly perfect that it is insane. The level of abilities that our bodies are capable of, that we're going to learn in the next 8 years, just utter insanity. So far outside of the realm of human understanding that it's just going to blow your mind what we're going to be capable of when we are not being held down and pushed back. But again, we chose to be held down and pushed back so that we would get this strength within us so that we could actually use these tools properly. This is a huge game that has come to a conclusion. And if you're tired right now and you just want to lay in bed, forgive yourself for thinking that you shouldn't. Ask yourself what you really need. Maybe it's just water. Maybe it's some food. Maybe it's to do jumping jacks. You never know what you actually need until you ask. But this next leg of the journey is you and your body coming together without the illusion interfering and really beginning to embody what it means to be humans, what it means to be right here, right now as a human. That's what's happening. And here's the coolest part about all of this. It's going to be really fun. And I don't mean like the painful kind of scary fun. I mean like you're going to be learning cool things every day that you didn't even know you could learn on levels you didn't even know you had. So the future of humanity is brighter than it's ever been. The technology that's coming out to support the process of our bodies catching up, coming out constantly every day. The world that we understand falling apart so that a new one can be built. Everything is happening. All you get to do now is enjoy the ride.
Jason, I love that you spoke about circuits because it really highlights how very non-linear the ascension process is. Imagine if this was a linear process, we'd be here, I don't know how many thousands of years. If
20,000.
this was, how many?
20,000. That's the minimum that it usually takes for a sector to be complete.
Yeah. So, you know, we've looked at loved ones, for example. We've looked at other people on the planet and gone, oh, they're not awake and they're never going to wake up, etc. Without realizing that we are non-linear beings and that ascension is a completely non-linear game, which means that as we activate and think of it as coming online, these various parts of ourselves, so suddenly we begin to feel more whole. And as you so perfectly described, we can now relate to more people on more levels. So if we think of our own personal ascension journey as that non-linear process, it allows for the mind to grasp it in a more true sense. I think we're so, because I often speak to people that say like, well, I've got to learn this and then I've got to learn that. And there's this whole idea about this being sequential, you know, but we're doing everything all at once. What was that?
Call it the blue door theory. It's a thing I teach my students. But before that we go there, I really want to point out a tool that you perfectly said that I think people might gloss over. Whenever you have someone in your life, doesn't matter who it is, and you think this person can't possibly wake up, ask yourself what concept they're embodying in you that isn't awake. Like right then and there. The moment that you dare to judge another in that way, go and look for that giant piece in you that isn't awake and resolve it. Because if you do that, you'll find that that person has permission to wake up because now you're being an example of an awakened aspect in that thing that they are an aspect of. When we judge someone, we put them in a cage and we throw them in a black hole and we go, ha ha ha, you can't wake up. See. And you don't want to do that. That's what you did. And what's really interesting about it is like, you're this high level being who has this power and this authority, and you use it to condemn people into the darkness. And that can be very dangerous because now you've condemned a part of you into the darkness. By simply saying they can't awake or that they're not awakened or anything like that, all you're doing is you're literally putting them in a cage with your power and your authority, which is stronger than theirs because you're at a level where you can at least acknowledge certain things. But it doesn't mean that you're better than them. It just means that you're stronger But hey, here's the really interesting thing. There's a rule book that you must have misread, because that rule book says, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And whenever you decide to start casting people down into the depths of darkness and confusion, you're asking others that are higher than you to do the same to you. And then higher than them to do the same to them. You're creating a chain reaction that you don't want. I know you don't want it. Anyone that's watching this right now, you don't want that. So stop doing it. Just allow them to be uncaged. And if you've ever called anyone asleep before, or you've ever judged anyone, go back. It's really easy. Just write a list down on a piece of paper and then go and see them all in their cages and uncage them and lift them up into the light and forgive yourself and, work through that. Give them their power back. Give you your power back. The LOG protocol works really well. The Light of God thing that I wrote. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Facebook deleted all my notes.
I did.
Yeah, I can. I'll post it on mtpo.org.
Okay.
But yeah, Facebook deleted all my notes. So I have a backup. I knew this was coming. That being said, when you get to that process where you're like working with that and you're beginning to unhinder your past, because there was a time that everyone that's watching didn't know what they didn't know. That's part of being alive. You don't know what you don't know. So you might have made unconscious judgments. And that doesn't make you a bad person. Casting people into the depths of darkness doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. So now you get a chance to get the other side of human, which is the empathy part of it, and you actually get to free them from the castations that you've thrown on them. So this is a really cool thing that you have the opportunity to do, and all you have to do is catch yourself. And also go back in time and space and free those that you've wronged.
That's very beautiful. Thank you. And really, really powerful. Jason, while I remember to ask you, we're talking about the avatar window. It starts tomorrow, being the 8th of December. But how long does this run until?
The 28th. It's the same thing as October.
Right. 8th to 28th.
Yep. And then the year of
Gotcha.
redemption starts technically on the 23rd of December. So I'll be writing new transmissions, putting all that out. We should have the sheet system done on the 21st. If that goes live, I will be so happy, because that will make it possible so that anyone can do anything at any time again. And that was our goal from the beginning. So the fact that it got delayed a little bit wasn't so much fun.
Jason, 2021, you're calling it the year of redemption. What is redemption? What is the year of redemption? What is that really about for us?
Yourself in your own eyes. So when you are shown, well, I guess I could go over this. When you die, your body gives out and you leave this plane. You go into a class, basically, a space where they show you everything you've done from the awareness you have. And how you see yourself is when you create your plan for your next life. Then you go and you do studying and you learn around certain concepts. This is basically a life review, but in life. So it's kind of different, but that's how you cross over into a fifth dimensional perspective and have infinite time, is you can accept yourself infinitely. And that which you can't accept, you come out of the stream for to experience. So the year of redemption is us preparing for that space. So we went through the year of actual size, right? Like that's what we just went through. That was 2020. And now we're moving to the year of redemption. And this is us forgiving ourselves and us coming back into who we are. So this is going to be one of the best years of our lives, in my opinion, because this is going to be the first year that humanity had its power back completely. There are no leaders anymore, none. Just humanity making choices to empower humanity. That's a huge thing. For the last 9,000 years, you guys have had leaders. We've had leaders. It's been a wild ride. And now we've earned the right to lead ourselves again, to assist humanity in our own essence, in our own power, in our own way. No one tells us what to do in that way anymore. We get choice again. This is a huge, amazing, amazing time. And then I still do predict around February 18th, world peace. So when we're no longer warring with each other, when we're no longer in that level of like destruction, what will we build? And I pose that question to everyone out there. What would you build if you didn't have to be at war? Because everyone's at war, whether they know it or not. At some level, you're at war with yourself. If you've ever judged anyone, if you've ever done anything ever, which everyone has at some point, you're at war with yourself. So now you get to spend a year really reclaiming the love of what humanity is capable of again. You get to be that love. You get to embody that love. And that fear and that anxiety that drove you to want to be the thing that you are, you get to finally work on. So this isn't going to be one of those pick you up and shake you until things fall out years. This is going to be one of those, did you see this? Cool. Do you want to do anything about it? Awesome. Because you have 8 years, right? So like you have plenty of time. This is just going to be the year where you start to get handed back the things that you don't know that you don't know. And this avatar window is going to be beautiful for that, because you're going to be connecting and communing with the self outside of the illusion, the thing that knows all that has been and ever will be. You are going to be communing with. It's a direct connection. So really take these next days, it's 20 days total, to just sit with yourself and forgive yourself for all the things you didn't know that you didn't know. Because it's totally okay that you didn't. How would you? You're human.
This is such a cool thing, and it's something that I've been saying lately to my Patreon community. We have a bit of a giggle about it, and that is, we judge ourselves, never mind others, we judge ourselves when we notice our own so-called third dimensional behavior. Put it another way, our very human selves, our humanness. And when we catch ourselves in the throes of being a 3D human, there's a level of expectation that we have for ourselves that is often quite unfair and even ungrounded. And so what I've said to them is, you came here to be a third dimensional human. That's what you came for. And to evolve as a 4D and a 5D and so forth. But you didn't come in thinking, I'm just going to walk right into my 5D suit. You came in to experience yourself as an unknowing thing. And to experience the moments of your own awakening and for the lights to come on from the inside. So when you catch yourself in those 3D moments, you can go, you know what? I'm doing really well. As a 3D being, that's what I came to do. Triumph, right? Isn't that triumph? Isn't it like, I did this thing and I did it so damn well, and it's okay that it's not in front of me to do anymore. But in the same breath, it's not okay for me to judge that so-called lesser part of me, because it's not lesser, it's just a different experience.
Exactly.
So we get to view ourselves differently, right?
Yeah. There's a really good short story on YouTube called The Egg. I can't begin to pronounce the name of the person who did it. But when you watch it, it really breaks you out of that mindset. And I'll post it under this. But when you watch that video, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Because they did it in an animated way. And I'm telling you, like this, I'm actually thinking about hiring this animator to do the MTVO videos because they're just so good at what they do. They actually care. You can feel it in the animation of the video. So, but it's called The Egg, and I'll post it under. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Jason, do you yet know if 2021 is the year of redemption? Is it in your view yet to be able to say 2022 is the year of whatever?
So 2022 is this year. I can't tell you anything about it. 2023 is the year of the fifth dimensional technological revolution. So I'm assuming this is an awesome year. So if you got redemption and you got something, then you've got fifth dimensional technological revolution.
Right. Gotcha.
But
that's good.
This year is unwritten. And that's what I love about humanity is we don't know what we don't know, and we now know we don't know what we don't know, and we don't want to write this year yet. But this year is pretty well written. Humanity did a good job. When you look at the book of it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, well, good job. Oh, interesting. This says to be continued. So you can't really go any further than that. But it's going to be see kind happens, because I think that it's going to be progressing as the year progresses. I would probably know more around August if I were guessing, but the reason is because you can't imagine what a world would look like if you didn't have war. If it wasn't an acceptable act, no one in the world wanted war anymore, that it was no longer a thing. What would you build? And now you have 10 months to build it. Okay, yeah, no, I can't imagine what humanity's gonna do. I'm just excited. Like I literally, I can't wait to see what 2022 brings. But I'm also super stoked about 2021. So I'm just gonna look at 2021 and enjoy it as it shows up. I've got all these projects that are finally coming forward. Coin Metro is doing phenomenal. Things are coming together for that. That's just gonna be amazing. I'm looking forward to the entire banking world, the way that we look at money and everything changing. I'm looking at the trees being planted all over the world, connecting and communing with so many awesome people as I am traveling around and helping plant trees, doing my favorite things, working on alchemical projects that I've dreamed of doing for Earth for a long time. And I mean, like, all of this is happening. Center for Expansion having its grand opening sometime next year. I don't even know, like, I hope to build 5 centers in the next few years. So like I want to start the next 5 centers next year. And that's 5 centers all over the world. That's new connections, new people, new interactions, and all of that alone creates new opportunities that I can't even imagine.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have no idea, other than it'll be better than 2021. And 2023 will be even more amazing than 2022, and so on and so forth for probably several thousand years.
Yeah. 2023 has been just, I don't even know what the word is. It can't leave me alone, or I can't leave it alone. But I keep feeling this incredible pull to 2023. My sense of 2022 is that it's got something to do with divine love. It's got something to do with unconditional love. Christ. It's the Christ light. That's what I see for 2022. But for 2023, I see this as the golden age of technology.
Yep.
And I have for quite some time. Even before 2016, I was talking about 2023. And with so much to look forward to. See, this is the thing, is we can look at our past, Jason, and for all of us, we've got things in our past that have caused us trauma and pain, and we're just not used to. It's just not in our frame of reference to look to the future with absolute enthusiasm and to feel that feeling of stability as we look with the enthusiasm at our future. And I talk about that stability because there's this flighty excitement, which tends not to be substantial and it tends not to last. Then we can have that different kind, it's like a grounded excitement where we're stable inside ourselves, we're centered in that divine neutrality. And yet at the same time, we've got this feeling of wonder and this feeling of awe that's brewing as we look to the future. This is what we're doing right now. I think we're amazing. Team Humanity, go.
Yes, Team Humanity, go. Absolutely. I can't imagine. If I were to guess, I would call 2022 the triumphant return. Because if you got redemption, then you'd have return, and then you have golden age, because it would, so on and so forth. It would make sense.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that for anyone out there that's saying that that's not, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, and I definitely don't know what 2022 brings. All I know is that 2021 is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to finding the parts of me that want to be redeemed and redeeming myself. You see, this is why it's so powerful here. It's not something else redeeming you. It's you finding the parts of you that need to be redeemed and want to be redeemed, and you giving yourself permission to redeem yourself. That is the most powerful act you will ever do for yourself, is redeem yourself. And a very powerful practice, if you want to do it, is called self-baptism. So for the longest time, we've believed we needed someone else to baptize us, to wash away the misunderstandings in our field. But you can do self-baptism. I've been teaching it for years. It's more important that you do it yourself because you are sovereign. And that's what you're going to realize in 2021 is the sovereignty is a very important thing. I'm very fortunate that I'm part of all these projects, and we're all working on ways to create a sovereign standing company, which is a new concept altogether. But like Thrive is working on it. I'm on a social media platform that's working on it right now. Like there's so many amazing things that are coming out, but this sovereignty principle is the core foundation of all of these new age companies. These things that are coming in this new age that we're moving forward to. And when I say new age, I'm not referring to that illusionary spiritual mumbo jumbo. I'm talking about the new age. We are in a new age for humanity. And
Mm.
the technology and the companies and the things that are going to come out need to echo that, because we're going to feel the difference. We're going to sense the difference. And
Mm.
I already feel like we're beginning to see that obviously now when you look at the world. But as we
Mm.
progress through this avatar window, it's going to be like ridiculously obvious to us, the things that are real and the things that aren't. And for the
Yeah.
longest time, we haven't had that discernment as humanity. And so we had the faith, we had this good faith in us, and we got kind of misled a little bit because we were loving, we were compassionate, and we just believed the good in everyone.
Mm.
And we learned some really good lessons along the way. But don't let those lessons jade you from the fact that it is possible, that there is no such thing as it's too good to be true.
Mm.
That statement, find it in your consciousness and wipe it off. Because 2021 is too good to be true. And yet, it's actually true.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely, Jason. I think it's probably something you've come across as well. There's a lot of people who've said to me, Kerry, you're talking about all this wondrous stuff, and yet I look in front of me and I see disaster. I see uncertainty and I see bickering and I see political disaster, financial disaster. So where is this beauty that you're talking about? And I'm not sure how you would answer it, Jason, but I say to people, it's within you.
Yep, that's how it
That's
answers.
where it is. Ah.
That's why I smile, because I knew you're gonna answer the same way.
Yeah. And if it's not attainable here, whatever you see outside of you cannot be real. Even if you saw Eden, it's not your Eden because it's outside of you. One of us is frozen. Is it Jason or is it me? I do wonder. If you're in on the comments, won't you please let me know which one of us has frozen?
Yeah, you better earn
Oh,
it, right?
there.
I mean,
I got you
huh?
back. One of us
It
froze.
was
I think
you.
it was
I
me.
think. Yeah.
Okay, hello, I'm back. Sorry, Jason, you were just saying something?
If you don't earn it, it means nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I say self-baptism. That's why I'm saying year of redemption, because you're redeeming yourself. That is the most powerful act you'll ever do, and it's what earns you the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of
Mm.
heaven is already there. And I could explain that, and it would take hours and it wouldn't help anything. But when
Mm.
you redeem yourself, you're one step closer to that space. And the word redemption has been used in spiritual things, it's been used in Christianity a lot. I'm not referring to those words. I don't believe that sin as a construct as we understand it is the same
Mm.
thing. What I understand redemption to be is the ability to discern that you didn't have the capability to do better and to love yourself unconditionally in that knowing, so much so that you are able to do better next time. If you can do that, if you can truly redeem yourself in the eyes of you, and you give yourself
Mm.
the self baptism to begin again, and you give yourself the permission to begin again, 2021 can be the greatest year of your life. If you don't change anything, 2021 will look just like 2020. Just nothing will change. Because if you are complaining and you are not being part of the solution, then you are going to have lots of problems. But it doesn't
Mm.
have to be that way. Your body can heal, things can change, but no one's going to do it for you. There's so many people out there that want the world to flip a light switch and the world to change forever. It's not how this works. You do the work and your world changes. Humanity does the work and the world changes. You're part of humanity. So if you do the work, humanity's doing the work. The world changes. If you're just
Mm.
waiting for others to do the work, they'll do it for a little bit, but your body will get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and you might not be able to stay to see the results. This is
Yeah.
not something where we don't participate. We've been asleep for long enough. We're awake now. We're ready to participate. We're ready to build our dreams. And we all came here. Everyone that's watching, you all came here with great dreams. You might have lost them along the way, but you can find them again. And then go build them, because we really need that. That's why you came.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we need all the examples that we can get right now. We've moved away from worship of the guru. We've moved away from that old style spirituality that was nothing short of a manipulation.
Yep.
We're in an entirely new era, and this is where we get to lead ourselves from the inside. And you doing that has the biggest impact. People have spoken about purpose for so long. It was this elusive thing that they were chasing without realizing that their purpose was to be more fully them.
Yep.
And when that happens, you become a glow, and other people become attracted to that glow, not because they want to take it from you, but because you ignite the same thing in them. That's the
Yep.
power of leading by example, right?
Absolutely. That's one of the most powerful things you'll ever do. And it's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever do. But I will go ahead and say one little thing here, because I've seen this a lot. If you believe that you're leading by example and that you should be treated differently for doing so, you're not leading by example in the way that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Isn't that spiritual hierarchy?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
It's
I know
such an
better than
interesting
you,
one.
my job is to tell you that I know better than you, and therefore you should worship
Mm.
me for knowing better than you. What?
Right. Yeah.
And when that happens, you should actually tell the person who knows better than you, hey, have you actually heard of this thing called the ego? I mean, there is this thing called stealth ego syndrome, and I think that you could be participating in
Yeah. And it was so prolific in the old paradigm.
it. Oh yeah.
I remember being a kid. Jason, I remember being a kid and I would talk to my parents about the olden days. I was quite fascinated with the olden days. They would tell me about Oxwagon and all sorts of really interesting things. And now we get to talk about the old paradigm, which honestly was not that long ago. But there's a whole other conversation. Huh?
And yet,
What was
so
that?
long ago. This has been a
Well,
long
yes.
time, ages.
Yeah, absolutely. Not long, but yeah, it feels like a couple of lifetimes ago. So we talk now, instead of the olden days, it's the old paradigm. But nonetheless, in the old paradigm, that was so the norm,
Yep.
where there was an expectation even of the guru or the teacher or whoever it was to chastise you, because that's what a loving God would do. Therefore, it's what a loving teacher would do. I mean, we're going to look back at the things that we believed and not judge it and condemn it, but really go, oh, that was cute. That was really funny. How did we ever get away with that? But, we did. And we
Yeah.
did really well. We did really well. As 3D beings, we were exemplary. As forgetful beings, we did a remarkable job.
I
We
agree.
even forgot that we forgot.
Yeah.
Kudos to us,
That's
you know.
skills. Skills. On top of that, though, with all the oppression, with all of the resistance, with all of the things holding us down, we
Yeah.
created a world that has power, that has water, that allows us to communicate on a computer screen, that allows us to actually plant trees with quantum
Yeah.
beads. I mean, like, look at what we were able to accomplish with all of that resistance and all of that pressure. Can you imagine what you can accomplish when you have none? I mean,
Mm.
that's what February looks like to me. When I look at February, I go, okay, this is gonna be where there's no restrictions at all, like none, nothing stopping me from doing what I came to do at all. I lost restrictions when it comes to, like, I could speak about anything almost, except for architects and a few other things that freeze the camera every time. But ultimately, that level of resistance, that level of pressure that pushed us away from what we came here to do is going to be pushing us towards what we came here to do and keeping us from going back into who we used to be. So it's going to be moving us forward now instead. And if you just take a second and realize what that means, you can see that 2022 and 2021 is just going to be what? Like, that's insanity. And then, you know,
Yeah.
2028 is just around the corner.
My brain boggles. It really does. Because for me, 2023 makes my brain want to explode. So then you talk about 2028, and I honestly can't. I
Yep.
can tell you my brain can't yet go there.
I
You
know
know?
that's one of the reasons why the crystallized root movement ends in 2023, is because a lot of the dimensional technology requires different carbons and different things in our atmosphere. And so when we plant these trees, they create a different type of oxygen and all these other things that we need. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I understand. This is my part to play. I'm going to get it done.
Hmm.
And we've already
Wow,
got over 500 trees planted, so we're getting there.
that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So how many trees go to each country, or is it just
It's just going to be wherever people are ready to plant. We have this person in Costa Rica. Her name's Reagan, and she's going to help plant a few thousand trees there because she owns 300 acres. And just all of these really cool people are coming together that are like, hey, I own some land. Hey, I own some land. And we're just putting it all together right now so that it'll work out. We finally figured out what we're going to do with the planting teams and like all that other stuff. I was going to do this on your live and explain all of it, but I feel like this is probably better when I have the samples and I can show people the items and then explain it. So yeah, but thank you
cool?
for reminding me to talk about this because I got excited and not in a
Yeah.
grounded way. I call it grounded excitement, passion, and excitement is like this. It's flighty. It's very, very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Grounded excitement, passion. Cool. Um, Jason, before we go, I want to share with you and with everybody that on the 12th, which is Saturday, the 12th of the 12th, I'm doing a free meditation activation. You'll find it on my website, kerryk.net. It's called You Are Love, and it's about immersing all of those who are present in an opportunity to reconnect with the love that they are and always have been. So, my daughter said something really beautiful the other day. She said something to the effect of what happens when you get heart sore, like what happens when you get sad. Does all the love in your heart go away? And I said to her, no, the love in your heart never goes away. But sometimes it gets very difficult to feel the love that's always there. So, in other words, we disconnect from it.
Yep.
And that was the inspiration for the 12th of the 12th. So, for those who feel called to remember the love that has always been there, but that we disconnected from, because that's exactly what we came to do. And it's what we excelled at doing. But now it's time to reconnect. So, on Saturday, 12 December, it's on my website. If you happen to be listening to this after the 12th of December, it'll still be on my website. You'll just go to the shop section to find it. Right now, if you go before the 12th of December, as you connect to my website, there's a gold banner beneath the heading of my website. Click on the gold banner and it will direct you exactly to the event You Are Love. So it's time to remember. That's exactly, Katie, it depends on what time zone you're in. People are asking what time it's at. It's at 10 p.m. in my time, which is actually the time that we started this live for those who
Yeah,
are on
it's
the
2
live
p.m.
stream.
Central, just for everyone out there.
What was that?
2 p.m. Central. I
Thank
don't
you.
I don't know any other time zones, but I know my own.
2 p.m. Central. There we go. So please do have a look because all the time zones are listed there. It's on kerryk.net. And yes, you definitely, Sandra Brown, you definitely have to register. So please go to my website where I'm directing you to. Follow all the instructions to register, and I will see you there. If you can't be there live, you're going to get the replay. So come along and let's remember who we are. We are love. And it's time that we amaze and enthrall ourselves and start belonging to ourselves again. So I really look forward to sharing that with everybody. You're here with me right now on YouTube. Please do take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube channel. As many of you will know, I'm no longer on Facebook. That was not a voluntary move on my part, and that's all I shall say about it. Please do join me here on YouTube. You can also join me on Telegram. I've got a very, very special, very beautiful Telegram community going. So if you have got Telegram, you can download it on your phone or your PC. I am to be found at Galactic Kerry K on Telegram. The chat section on that group is spectacular. It's a very small amount of people, but it's pure love. So there's another place that you can join if you're looking for a community to remind you about the truth of who you are. Jason, before we go, I want to ask you, if you were to describe neutrality, sacred neutrality, how would you describe it?
That's a good question.
I
So
know.
in order to enter the bubble that I call sacred neutrality or divine neutrality, you must first figure out how acceptance works. But in order to enter the actual bubble, you have to forget that acceptance exists. And so instead of it being an action that is, it is a state that is. So that's how I would describe it. It's acceptance, acceptance is an action, neutrality is a state. So the action takes you into the state, and then you stay in the state until you need to do the action again to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're on neutrality, it's another place where I notice people judge themselves and they say, oh, I know I'm supposed to be neutral, but
Yeah.
maybe they've been triggered or whatever it is. You're not supposed to, at this stage of your life, be there 24/7 and lie about being there just so that you appear to look good. Be where you are every moment of the day, because that's what leads you to sacred neutrality. It's acceptance, right? That's the doorway.
So just on that note, because it's a really fun conversation to have there, and I could go live on this, but just for this particular person or whoever we're speaking to that's struggling with this, be aware that like, if you say, I know I'm judging you right now, and I don't want to, people will actually respond to that in a good way. It's surprising. Like if I have a judgment of someone, I acknowledge it. I go, hey, I'm judging you right now, and I don't want to, but I also don't understand how not to. So help me understand your perspective so that I can come into a space where we can understand together. And it's a very powerful tool, because the very first thing that happens, especially when someone's new to this concept, is they're like, wait, you're judging me? And then they realize, wait a second, you're not judging me behind the scenes. You're being honest with me. And it opens up this new communication that can occur around, I'm judging you because blank. And I don't want to, but I am. So I would like to work with this. Are you open to discussing this thing that I don't understand, which is why I'm judging you? And you'll find that you have really good communication. And again, just for those out there that don't know this, unity is not agreement with. Unity is acceptance of. I can accept that me and Kerry don't agree on everything. It's one of the reasons why we get along. If we agreed on everything, we'd be bored to tears. We wouldn't have anything to talk about. What would be the point? And that's the beauty of it. Our connection is like, we love each other. And true love is actually the ability to accept a person. Like, that's what it is. So me and Kerry accept each other. We like to play. Super fun.
Yeah. And it gives room to learn as well, Jason. When I don't see things the same way that you do, it allows me to either ponder it inside myself or to ask you questions about it or to ask myself questions about it. But in the same way that you spoke earlier about how when humanity was held back, it kind of propelled us forward.
Yep.
It's the same sort of thing. If you've got somebody in your life where you're very aligned, but there are those places where perhaps you might not be, or you might just see things right now from a different perspective. There's such a magical opportunity there to grow for both of you. And I'm so grateful, Jason, that we're those friends that can dare to grow with each other instead of away from each other. So
exactly.
Thank you.
That's when the true masterpiece of the human condition is created, like in my opinion. We truly paint the most beautiful reality when we do it together. Because I only know so many colors. It'd be very boring and bland if it was just my painting reality for humanity. People would be like, why is it black and white? I don't understand. I'd be like, the only colors I knew at the time. You know, I did my best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look, as I look to the side here, which is where I've got the comment section, I just see all of these hearts and love and such incredible, special, phenomenal people. Thank you so very much to all of you for being here. Whether you're watching this on the replay or if you are here with us right now, it's exceptional to share this conversation with you. Sandra says she has registered for the 12/12 meditation. Oh no, sorry, where do I register? My sweetheart, at kerryk.net. That's where you got to go, kerryk.net. Go there. As you open the website, there's a gold banner right underneath the heading. Click on the gold banner. It says, this is where you go to register for the 12/12 event. It's called You Are Love. Just follow the gold banner. There you go. Right, everybody. Thank you so much for this wonderful space. Thanks for a phenomenal chat. We'll be back again, as always, sending you all my love.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.